Hello friends, this is Music Man from his man cave, and I went and did it. I talked about American cars, and yesterday the driver's side, the door on the driver's side of the Chevy Impala 2009 with only 13,000 miles on it, the door lock stopped working. When you push the button, it won't open, it won't shut. So my wife believes I jinxed it. So let's talk about Japanese cars and the difference, and why the Impala at 13,000 miles, even though it was babied and garaged the entire time by my uncle, still, just like clockwork, it has electrical problems. Coming at you right now. So friends, Music Man from his man cave, Japanese cars. So I have a 95 Toyota Camry that, yes, the wires did wear out in the doors and the door locks didn't work and so forth, but that was at 190,000 miles. And so I put new wiring chassis in it and so forth. But I have a 1999 and all the door locks and everything worked fine. I don't think this car, it was a very basic car. I don't ever think it actually came with the door lock mechanism thing, majiggy. But this Impala is impressive looking. It's a very attractive car. It's that Victory Red, and it looks very good, and yet 13,000 miles, just like clockwork, just like Consumer Reports said, is having electrical problems. Why? Well, believe it or not, it is not use that wears out cars. Sitting does not change anything. A car that sits is going to depreciate and wear out just as quickly as a car that's being used. In fact, I think it's worse for a car just to sit around and not to be used. Now that's up for debate. You can debate with me down there. Do you believe that a car sitting and only being driven on road trips is going to be do better than a car you drive all the time? Interesting debate. What I've found is cars are made to be used. And no matter what you do, the Chevy Impala at 6 and 7 years is going to start having the same exact problems as every Impala that is made in Ontario, Canada. They're going to have the same issues. So here's these electrical problems right at 6 years. Right on the dime. Amazing. And my Camrys, they don't have any of those kind of problems, but they do have suspension problems. They start about 120 to 150,000 miles. You're going to have to change out some bushings. You're going to have to do some strut work. You're going to have to change some strut mounts and little things in there. They have suspension problems, but their motors and their trannies are very, very good. Of course, I prefer the manual over the automatic because I just believe you're going to get a longer service out of it. Although the automatics are very nice. I prefer the 4-cylinder over the 6-cylinder. And the reason I prefer the 4-cylinder is because it's been a motor in their cars for a long time, and it has served them well, and it is way above average in reliability. The V6 is not quite as long, and it tends to be the one that has more of the sludging issues. So Japanese cars, are they better than American? Don't freak out. The answer is yes, they are. Door locks don't break that quickly. Their interior, the Impala has plastic. You can wrap on it like a drum. The inside of the Toyota Camry, and sometime I'll take this out and I'll actually do it, video the car and show you. It has this nice kind of fake leather feel where you can push in on it, and it feels, and it has these little refinements and lumbar support. And on this Impala, they have adjustable lumbar support. I like that. It's kind of nice. But according to Consumer Reports, 7, 8, 9, and 10 years, the Impala motors go bad and their transmissions go bad. So the life cycle of this car, even though it's babied and its exterior is flawless, is coming to the end of its life, even with 13,000 miles on it. How can that be? Probably going to need an engine overhaul because it wasn't driven enough. And those seals and those gaskets in there, they get hard and they get brittle over time, not because they're used. They just get brittle. They wear out. It had probably been, the engine and the transmission would have probably done better if it right now had 130,000 miles on it and it had been driven. But that is the deal. Japanese cars, no matter what you do, they're going to last you pretty well 200,000 miles. And for guys that are pretty handy and they have basic mechanical skills, they can last 250 to 300,000 miles pretty easily. With guys with mechanical skills. If you don't have any mechanical skills, forget about it. So there's the difference between Japanese engineering and American engineering. A car with only 13,000 miles, just like Consumer Reports said, the door locks aren't working. And there's this weird ticking sound with the fan. What's that all about? There's weird noises. There's weird gremlins. The light's dim, like it's a power loader or something. There's electrical gremlins in this car. And it's perfect. I mean, to look at it, you would think it is absolutely fantastic. But being honest, whoever I sell it to, I'm going to have to be honest with them about these things. If one day I have to sell it, when Uncle Al passes away, he can't drive it anymore. He can't see. So we're just trying to keep the car serviceable, runnable, keep it running. So you don't want to sell a car that doesn't run. You can't sell a car. So if he dies and the car isn't running, it's worthless. So Japanese cars, they're better at little things like door locks that don't break until about 150, 200,000 miles. But like I told you in my other blogs, those little gadgets, the more gadgets you have, the more things to break. Touch screens, automatic door locks. Oh, and yeah, those automatic things, you push a button and open up the trunk and all that. Those things go dead, and then you go back to the dealership to buy a new one. Oh, I've been told they run about $100. That's a lot to pay for a key, or for just a basic feature. I think I'm low there. I think it's actually more than $100. You can correct me down below. But there's the difference in Japanese engineering versus American engineering. I think that you have to make a decision what you like. Can you live with cars that slowly deteriorate and only have about a 10-year lifespan, spending $25,000 versus spending $30,000 for a car that has a 15-year lifespan? It's touch and go. Personally, for me, I like cars. I like to pay a little bit more and go with a car that has a little bit longer lifespan, because I like to drive my cars about 15 to 20 years. 10 years is a little short for me, and especially if I'm going to buy a brand new car, which I'm never going to do, and spend $25,000 on it. So that is where Japanese cars excel, and where American cars just don't come up to par. So what do? Do you buy American? Well, the Impala, I looked on it, it's made in Ontario, Canada. And the Toyota was made in Texas. So which is more American? Impala's parts tend to be cheaper. You know what I mean? Cheaper in quality, not necessarily cheaper in price. And Toyota parts seem to be better built when you buy them from the Toyota dealer. Just my experience with these cars as I've worked on them. I had a Pontiac Bonneville that was almost identical to this Impala. This Impala was built exactly when GM went bankrupt. And I read Consumer Reports and all the others, Motor Trends and so forth, and they said this car had a plethora of problems, had lots of issues. So, we're just trying to keep the car alive and keep it running. Are we going to be successful? I'm really doubting it. I say in 3 years this car is going to probably be ready for the junkyard, even though it looks beautiful. Number one, it has that 3.5 liter motor that's a very coarse engine. Where my Camrys, they have that 2.2 liter motor that is from 1992 through 2002, and that is a good little engine. It's the engine that could. It just keeps on trucking. And it doesn't go bad. And if it does have problems, it's on that left side of the motor, and you pull it all apart and you change it all at once, and you go another 100,000 miles. And so anyway, there's some food for thought. I did not jinx the Impala. I did not. It was just time. Time wears out cars. And I will say it's better to drive a car than to store it in a garage and baby it, because it's still depreciating. And if you're not going to drive it and you don't use it in 6 months, sell it. Get rid of it. So we're using Uncle Al's car for my wife's work, for her to drive out-of-town trips. It works. It works for him. It works for us. It keeps the value of the car. People don't really care if a car has 15,000 miles or 50,000 miles when it's that old. They still are going to get the same price for it. So anyway, food for thought. Let me know what you think below. You have to make a decision. Suspension problems or complete transmission and engine failure. Which would you choose? But you do pay a little bit more for Toyotas and Hondas and Subarus and so forth. Music Man, till next time. Japanese cars. I like the code of the samurai.